Everyone, listeners, thank you for joining us today. You are in for a treat. Our show today is about taking your dreams to new heights. And we have two dynamic women with us today, Suzanne, Nance, and Dana Berow. Both of them are Grand Slammers. They're like amazing people to me. And we're going to hear more from them. But first, I want them just to say hello to everyone. Dana, how are you doing today?
Hi, I'm doing well. It's good to be here.
I'm so glad you're here. Suzanne?
I'm doing well, and same thing. Thanks for having me.
Oh, thank you. It's my honor to have you guys here. And as we continue with the show, the listeners are going to be blown away with the two of you. So thank you for taking the time and being with us. Listeners, you know, I love it when you reach out and you email me, you send me questions, or you talk to me about things. So continue to email me. You can reach me at Karen@shinenowornever.com, or you can go to my website, shinenowornever.com. And as always, feel free to call in to Voice America at 1-866-346-9141. We'd love to hear your voices. We'd love to hear your ideas. And I'm always here for you, and you know that. So thank you. Before we continue on, we're going to get grounded just for a minute. So if you're in a place where it's safe and you can close your eyes, I invite you to sit, close your eyes, and take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. Another deep breath in and out through your mouth. Now, wrap your hands up around your shoulder like you're giving yourself a big hug. Taking a big squeeze as you breathe in and release. Now, this time as you breathe in, I want you to repeat out loud or to yourself, I am worthy of my love. Say that 3 times. I am worthy of my love. I am worthy of my love. I am worthy of my love. Take another deep breath in and release. Allowing everything to just leave your body. Tension, stress that we do not need at this moment, at this time. Give yourself another extra squeeze and release, and then tap 3 times in your chest. Accept, accept, accept. And release. Now that we're grounded and we're in the now, the present, and the time, we always go into the affirmation. Listeners know the drill. And I shuffle up my affirmation cards, and whatever pops out is the affirmation for the day. And I never look at the card. But I do invite my guests, as I read the card to you, if you would take a moment just to share what you first came to your mind, what you first thought of, and share to the listeners. And listeners, as I read the card, I want you to have your voice, what you thought of. Okay? So here we go. The card is I am being. I am being. I am being. Dana, what was your first thought when I read that to you?
It's just, for that, it just really means present, just being present and being where you are right now and appreciating that. And no matter what else is going on, just dealing with what you've got on your plate.
I love that. Suzanne, what about you?
Oh, it always harkens back to that saying, I'm a human being, not a human doing. And so same kind of thing, recognizing that it's important to take the time and effort to remember that we are involved in ourselves and others, but taking that moment to be thoughtful about just in that moment for us.
I love that. Both of you did a great job. I love the part about Suzanne when you said being and not doing. That's so important. I think a lot of times we get caught up. And as Dana said, like being in the moment, being now, being present. It's so important, especially in this world that we're living in. And I believe as bad as COVID has been for all of us, there's also been good. We've been able to come inward. We've been able to slow down a little bit and realize who we are and finding that trueness inside of us and identifying to ourselves again. So I love that. Listeners, I am being. And today, as we're being, I want to invite you to think about your dreams. This month of May has been about dreams, desires, intentions. And what are your dreams? And how can we raise your dreams and take it to the next level? And our two dynamic guests today, Dana and Suzanne, are going to share with us some amazing stories that they have, their life stories, what they've been through. So first I want to start with, tell you guys a little bit about Dana. She's a corporate financial professional. She's a health coach, a mom, and an accomplished mountaineer. So Dana, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
Raise the roof. Woo-hoo. Oh my heck. So tell me a little bit about you being a health coach. I know before the segment started, you were telling me a little bit about it. And we've had some segments on health, and I loved what you said to me. So share with the listeners a little bit what you said about being a health coach.
Well, so, I've struggled with my weight my whole life. I've been extremely active, but as a lot of people will know, being active doesn't necessarily translate into having a healthy relationship with food. And so I struggled with that for a long time, and I finally found a program that I really enjoy and that has really grounded me in understanding my issues with food and being able to work through those. And it's a great community. And as part of staying accountable to the program and really working with it, I decided to become a health coach. And so I coach some folks to learn the same habits of health that I'm working with and that I use. And so that's been really fun. And I've been able to help a lot of folks move from unhealthy habits to creating a feedback loop of healthy things that they're doing, which has brought me a lot of joy.
I love that. It's like a healthy lifestyle, right? You create your healthy lifestyle.
Exactly.
And as you created your healthy lifestyle through food, you also did it how? What is this mountaineering thing? Tell me about this.
So mountains for me are where I find my peace, where I find my calm, and for whatever reason, the doing it in the snow and in the cold for me has amplified that. And there's something very rudimentary about going out into the mountains for long periods of time, which is typically what a mountaineering expedition is, and being part of a team. You're tied together a lot of the time, so you don't get closer than that, and you have to rely on each other for your safety, for your and for your survival. And so it was an amazing journey to be able to do lots of high altitude mountaineering with some amazing people. I met Suzanne, great friend. So for me, it's where calm and peace, and you go out and you trudge away in the snow, and at the end of the day, you look around and you go, oh my goodness, where are we? This is just, it's stunning.
Oh, okay, so I've listened to stories about mountaineering, and it's dangerous. We walk out the door, it's dangerous. We can get hit by this, bus in front of us or whatever, but mountaineering, you're actually making that choice.
Yes.
To walk into the unknown. And what led you to want to do that?
I think sometimes you find that you're good at certain things, and so you want to keep moving forward with those things. And I found that I'm extraordinarily good at carrying large things for long distances.
Suzanne's laughing over there.
As a bit of a pack mule. And this is something I'm very good at. I don't know why. It's just, but I can put 70 pounds on my back and I can walk long distances. I can't run a marathon. I can't swim to save my life, but I can put lots of stuff on my back and I really enjoy it. And I sort of enjoy the accomplishment of people looking at this 5'4" woman with 70 pounds on her back going, huh, what is she doing? And so, yeah, so I really enjoy that. And it's sort of that, people don't expect that it's something that I would do. And I've proved them wrong again and again. And I enjoy that.
So what has been your favorite climb? What mountain has been like your favorite one? Do you have a certain one?
Denali in Alaska. The highest mountain in North America is Denali. And I actually had to climb it twice because I didn't get to the top the first time. And it was a joy both times. It is just a pristine wilderness, absolutely gorgeous mountains. And the people that you meet at certain camps are super entertaining. The Alaskan, culture is amazing. And I would do that mountain again and again if I had the time.
Yeah. So from start to finish for a certain climb, is it a month, 2 months? Is it a week?
It depends on the mountain.
Okay.
So Denali is about 3 weeks being out, but you take something like Everest, which Suzanne has done, and that's a 3-month time commitment.
Wow.
So it depends.
Have you been in, well, I'm sure, can you share with the listeners in an experience that you had where you just felt almost life-threatened, or like you're thinking, what am I doing?
Yeah, I try to keep that out of my mountaineering because it's sort of, it's not the calming experience that I'm looking for. But yeah, we have the big A, right? So the adventure with the capital A. And it's one of those things that if you prepare well enough and you get yourself into the right mindset and you get the right team around you, you typically don't have those experiences. But yeah, I've certainly, had times when I went up Mount Hood with a good group of women, and but we didn't know Hood well enough, and we did it late in the summer, and we got to about I think we were about 400 to 500 feet from the summit, but there was this big Bergschrund, which is like a big crevasse, but it's and so it's a gap in the snow. Okay. So you can't make it across it. And it was about 8 o'clock in the morning, and we knew it was getting a little late, and the mountain started throwing rocks at us. So the snow had loosened up enough. So what happens is that as the sun comes up, the snow will loosen up and the rocks start rolling down. Well, there were some really big rocks that were coming down. And we looked at each other and we were like, this isn't worth it. It's that last 500 feet is not worth it. We're turning around, we're coming down, it's not safe. And yeah, but there was a really big boulder that came right across a rope between the woman in front of me and myself. And that was the point where we were like, nope.
We're done.
Time to turn around and get out of here.
When you said like it's important to have your team together and that trust, and I've been told you're only as strong as your weakest link. And I've heard that before, just like with running and, in high school, the races, the relay team, whatever your weakest link is.
That's definitely true.
Yeah.
There are times when, and everybody has their weaknesses. So you actually have to know, the characteristics of your team as well as their strengths. So certain people are super, super strong in, and can carry even more than, an even higher load, right? Whereas, someone will know that they have difficulty at the end of the day because they can't actually, they'll have either a problem with cold or a problem with heat or a problem, and so it's knowing yourself as well and what you bring to the team. And so balancing it out is actually another really important part. But I mean, and on a rope team, you have people in the lead, and then you have people in the middle, and then you have the people at the end.
Mhm.
And there are safer spots where you put the less experienced people, so that you can even out your risk. But over an expedition, you make sure that everybody's skill set is
Equivalent.
continues to rise, and so
Right.
that you can all pull your own weight, and you can all save each other if something bad happens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because you're not only there to help yourself survive, but other people. If you get put into a circumstance where you have to step in, and
Yep.
minutes, seconds are of the time element there for saving someone. I love the fact that you both of you have done this, and you've summit, and it blows my mind sometimes, because I look at thinking I've done some crazy stuff myself, but nothing like this. And I've always wondered, would I mentally have the mindset to do it? I know physically is really important, but to me, it's a lot of mental also. How do you prepare? And we need to go into a break here in just a minute, but if you can tell our listeners, how do you prepare mentally? Share with them.
So mentally, it's really about the commitment to the process.
Okay.
Because not every situation is going to enable you to get to the top of whatever mountain you're climbing. But it can't just be the goal that you're at the top of that. It has to be that you are committed to the process, and you're committed to the safety of the entire team. You're committed to having a good time. And you're committed to giving everything that you've got to that experience. Because it's really, you're in a bubble. And so mentally, you have to jump into the bubble. You have to be like, this is where I am. And that goes back to your affirmation of today, of the being, right?
Right.
Like, this is where I am. This is what I'm doing. And so the other things, feeling cold, feeling uncomfortable, feeling like, you have to sort of put all those things away, unless it's going to put their team at risk, right? So you have to be able to weigh what your own personal discomfort is versus the safety, the health, and the goals of the team, right? So
yeah. I love that. Committing to being in that bubble for amount of time, whatever it takes to get to the top of the summit. Listeners, stay tuned. We will be right back. Dana has shared with us some great experiences. After the break, we will be introducing you to Suzanne. So stay with us. We'll be right back.
All right, great job. We're all clear. Back in a couple minutes.
Okay, thank you. Yay! That was good.
Great, Dana. Great. You're awesome.
It was really good. So what we'll do, Suzanne, I'll introduce you when we come back from break, and we'll introduce you with your bio, ask you some questions, and then we have another break. And then when we come back, it'll be all three of us talking. During that time, you can share any links you have with social media, Facebook, how people can get a hold of you, your wellness coaching. If you have a site for that, please share it for coaching, whatever it is. Share it out to the listeners, because this is what I love to do. I love to help build platforms for one another. This is what we do. We share, we help, and we build our tribe. And to me, that's so important to do. And I'm just blown away having you guys on my show. It's just crazy. I just want your autographs.
I want to go climb Denali again.
Yeah, I heard that. I love that. I'm up.
I gotta go to Alaska for work, and I'm like, can we go to Tahiti? Can I go to Tahiti? Can I just get on a plane? Would it be all right?
It's spring. What do you think? How does next June sound?
I could go, but you're gonna have to put me where the link is.
Oh, yeah.
That would be me.
Not a problem.
It's a desire. So not everybody wants to climb a mountain, right? And I mean, there's lesser mountains and there's little hills, and everybody, if you're an outdoors person, but if you say, hey, I can guarantee you that Dana and I can get you there. It's about training. It's about the mental aspect, as you said. And that's what I coach a lot about, that, a lot of people have, their own Everest. It's not and so that's, 20% of people who have a goal, 80% don't make it.
All right, sorry to interrupt, but we are coming back in about 12 seconds.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about that too, about the goals, because
Empowerment Channel, VoiceAmericaEmpowerment.com.
You are listening to Now or Never. The choice is yours. To connect with the program today, please call us at 1-888-346-9141. That's 1-888-346-9141. If you'd rather send an email, the address is Karen@shinenowornever.com. Let's get back to this week's show. Here again is Karen Wright.
welcome back, listeners. We just spent the last 10 minutes or so speaking with Dana Berow about her experiences, her favorite mountain with Denali. She is a mountaineer, a health coach, and she's absolutely amazing. She can carry a pack up to 75 pounds, and not everyone can do that. She said that. I'm like, 75 pounds. You are a strong lady. But it's not just more the physical, but the mental and all of it combined. And the commitment. We talked about commitment right before we went for a break. Because back in my mind, I feel like I set desires and dreams, and I've accomplished a lot in my life. And I'm like going, oh, during break, we're like going, could I do this? Could I go climbing with these two? And we're going to find out if I can or not in this next little part. So we're getting ready to introduce you to Suzanne Nance. She is an internationally renowned speaker and leadership consultant. She speaks on her experiences as a high altitude mountaineer climber and her world record as the first American woman to accomplish the Explorer's Grand Slam. Having consulted with hundreds of individuals in Fortune 100 organizations, Suzanne has brought her unique experiences to help company leaders and employees reach their summits of success. Suzanne has endured bone-chilling temperatures, narrowly escaped avalanche, survived life-threatening glacial falls, and struggled against gale force winds. Suzanne has delivered everything from large-scale programs to one-to-one consulting. Audiences are immediately transformed into motivated high achievers by her inspirational stories and practical business wisdom. Woo! Bring it on, Suzanne! Thank you for being here with us.
Thank you so much for having us. This is just such a pleasure.
I'm so excited. So and Dan and Suzanne, you've known each other for how long, Suzanne? How long have you known them?
2004.
2004.
So almost 20 years, going on 20 years soon.
That's amazing. And who would have thought it would have been like continued relationship, right?
Oh, I love Dana. She's my rock. She's my humor. She's my sidekick. She's so much. Yeah, she's wonderful.
I love that. And Suzanne, tell us a little bit to my listeners. What is the Grand Slam? What does that mean?
You must summit the tallest mountain on each of the 7 continents. And I always have to say, and that includes Everest. People, did you do Everest? Yes.
You're like, that's
and then you have to ski to the north. Well, you have to get to the North and South Pole. I happen to ski to it. And so it's circumventing the extremes around the globe.
Wow. So you did all 7. So name all 7 for me and for my listeners. Okay. I love listening to it.
Dana can correct me if I make a mistake. So again, sidekicks are good for this stuff, right?
Right.
So there's Kilimanjaro, That's Africa. Elbrus, that's Europe, actually, even though it's in Russia. There's Aconcagua, which is South America. There is Denali, Mount McKinley, which is in North America. There is the Vincent Massif, or Mount Vincent, in Antarctica. And then there is Everest, Asia. Oh, I forgot one. I did Kosciuszko on Australia.
Wow. So what was the time frame?
2 years and 83 days.
Wow. Did you book your whole, did you decide like, I'm going to do all 7 amount. This is my time limit. This is what I'm going to do and do it? Like, that's how I work.
No. So I went to Kilimanjaro. I had my own business. I had injured myself. I couldn't do anything but walk. So it's like, well, what can I do? And I heard an article from National Geographic's Travelers and NPR that the snows of Kilimanjaro are disappearing. So I thought, oh, well, I'll go do this. I mean, it wasn't quite that easy. I had to plan, but I wanted to see it, so I went to Kilimanjaro, and I got back from Kilimanjaro and I was kind of moping around and seemed sort of depressed. And the fellow who actually helped me train and mentally prepare for Kilimanjaro met with me, and he says, oh, I think you have it. And I'm like, what parasite did I get from Africa? Right? Because you take all this medicine and still something could happen. And he said, no, I think you have the climbing bug. So he recommended I went to climbing school in Alaska, which I did. And then the second mountain I went to was in Elbrus, which is in Russia. And that's where I met Dana, actually. And upon meeting Dana and hearing her story, and I kind of had the fish hook in my mouth. And so Dana and I said, well, hey, do you want to go to Australia? If anything, it could be a quick vacation. And she's like, yes, let's go. And after that was kind of where I said, okay. Now I had kids at the time, junior high, going into high school and then high school. So you make that decision. Do I do this once every 7 years, or do I try to get it over with and have it less painful? And a lot of times the climbing season for these things are on vacations for them, so like they'd go off to summer camps or whatever. And so I just kind of started knocking them out.
I love that. So when you said you worked with your coach to prepare you, there's high altitude, and how do you prepare your body mentally and physically for the high altitude with your climbs?
When I got to Aconcagua, I had some medical issues. And so I didn't make it, much like Dana said, you have, and she shared with me, you usually have to do one twice. It's like, okay. So I had to do that a later time, but it was hard. Altitude, I'm not affected very much by altitude. And there's a method, it's called climb high, sleep low. And so there's ways to acclimatize correctly for it, but because I had a bad experience, I live in the Midwest, flat. So I went out to visit Dana and said, Dana, I'm going to tromp around in the hills here, mountains, before we go to Denali, because we were both going to Denali. And that helped me prep a couple weeks ahead. It's not the same, but it sort of starts pressing your red blood cells to increase.
Do you consider yourself brave?
No. So I'm taking a course, the science of well-being from Yale. It's the happiness course. And they make you do all these assessments. And one of the assessments was characters. And the last thing out of 24 characters, the last one for me was bravery. So I don't perceive myself as being brave, right? But, and I always think that a lot of those labels are posthumous, like people give you, you have so much courage, you have so much bravery. I think they give it after you've done the deed. I'm the climber who gets to the summit and go, okay, guys, get the pictures. Let's go. We got to get down. This is dangerous. We got to go. Right. So I'm more the scaredy cat, I think, than, brave.
Well, I love the fact that you got the climbing bug. Thank goodness it was only the climbing bug. And you set your goals. You set your dreams that you're going to do it. And how this whole month we're talking about dreams and dedication, like, was it visual? Do you just like mindset? I'm the type of person, I decide I'm going to do something, I jump straight in, and then I figure out how to swim out. I don't always think through things. I just do it and go, it's all gonna happen accordingly. But not everyone's like me. And I think more people are more planned and think through things a little bit more so. So did you think through? Did you map out the course? Did you do your spreadsheets? What did you do to make this happen?
You learn through experience from each one. There
Okay.
are books, there are some videos. Nowadays, there's even so much more plug-in. But back then, not as much on the internet. But much like Dana said, you know, it's exquisite. I went to college in Fairbanks. I know what minus 68 degrees looks like, and I know how to dress for it, right? So, and strangely, I'm kind of a mule also. I kind of know how to put that weight on my back and just trudge along, you know. And maybe that's why we're such a good fit. I mean, we would just laugh hysterically about it. But no, at every single, you get a gear list. I went with a company and you get a gear list, and it's like, okay, I suffer from something called Raynaud's, where my hands and feet shut down when my core starts to get cold. And every expedition was colder and longer. So I had to figure out each time what hand stuff is going to work for me. And so like, oh, that didn't work so well. Let's find some new stuff. Oh, that's crap. You know, that was worse than what I had over there. So I had to kind of explore each and every time, especially the right gear for me. And then it's, you can visualize on top of a mountain. I tried to do that, but you have no idea what it looks like. You don't know what the summit of Everest looks like. You don't know what the summit of Aconcagua looks like. But you kind of visualize yourself, and then it's a process, much like Dana said. You just keep going.
I love it. It's like you learn as you grow, one step after the other, after the other. I've always wanted to do Kilimanjaro. I always thought, I'll do that one with you guys. We can do that one.
Okay.
I would do that one. But I love the fact that you put your team together, right? You have the diversity, you each have your strength, your weaknesses, and you know what they are. And together you make it happen. But first, each individual has to be dedicated and there in the being to make it happen. You got to step into the bubble, like Dana had said earlier, which I love that. So how do you work with your coaching, Suzanne, and bringing in the climbing with your coaching? How do you correlate the two of them together?
Well, climbing is a metaphor for life. So a lot of the things I've written a book, and I have woven in leadership and team dynamics into the story. I have two others I'm working on, and it's really a metaphor. You're going to have obstacles, you're going to have tragedies, you're going to have bad weather. Hello, COVID, right? You're going to have things that are past your ability. So on a mountain, it's weather, but it could be finances, it could be software, it could be many things. But how are you planning for that? How do you get around your obstacles? On the South Pole, this was quite into my expedition. So after a while, you learn what to bring, and I brought a bunch of duct tape. You never know if your jacket's going to have a rip in it, or in Alaska, if your plane wing needs some duct tape. I don't know. So anyway,
You're MacGyver. MacGyver always had duct tape.
Kind of. You start to be very quick, and it actually saved my feet. And so in my chapter, I kind of say, yeah, we don't plan for the unexpected, but you had better have a plan B. And so, and we learned a lot of this after 9/11. You know, we didn't have our storage, our information storage someplace else. So when the towers went down, a lot of information was lost. And now they have them all over, right? What are you planning for? So there's a lot of similes that go back and forth between a journey such as climbing a mountain and a journey for a leader or teams or up and coming leaders.
So tell me the name of the books that you've written. Share with our listeners, because I love this. I love books.
My book that I published it's an international bestseller. Yay. It's called Lead from the Top, How to Make Your Life, Your Team, and Your Leadership a Grand Adventure. And then I'm working on 2 more. They'll still have the Lead from the Top. This one, I'm trying to interview CEOs, presidents of associations, a lot of healthcare individuals, chief medical officers or chief financial officers or CEOs of hospitals or units, because I want their story about how they overcame a lot of this stuff with COVID. Totally unexpected, right? It's a major story. So, and juxtaposition with that with my climbing, the unexpected time, et cetera, et cetera.
I love that correlation, putting it together. And the whole health field, kudos, gratitude radical gratitude to them and everything they've gone through the last 2 years.
Okay.
And they're still there helping us and being there, and the dedication. We can't even express it, because we don't, unless you're in the field, do you really understand it, right? Unless you walk in their shoes. I mean, we get a glimpse, but it's like, So I love that you're taking the time and getting their input and how I'm all about pivoting, right? You got to learn to pivot in society, in life, and how you pivot and what's it about. And the healthcare, they learned how to pivot, just like the rest of us did, but they were on point. They were taking care of all of us that were sick and things like that. So thank you for having that insight, Suzanne, to reach out to them and to write your book and to correlate with climbing the mountains. And because it's been an incredible journey for everyone. I think the last 2 years, we all have our stories. We all have our adventures, our trauma, what we've been through, what has happened. And at the end of the day, we've all risen a little bit higher. And I love that. I love that about how humans can come together and focus on more of the goodness out of things instead of the bad. And I hate saying good and bad, but the part we don't like, which is probably the bad.
The part we don't like, I like it.
We don't like. But when we come back, listeners, we're going to talk to both Dinah and Suzanne about their adventures, stories. I'm so excited. Stay with us, and we'll be right back.
Okay, good. All clear. Back in 2.
Thank you. That was good.
You're a good interviewer.
Really, I'm still learning. This is one of those things where I just jump in.
I see. This is it. This is an example. Well, you're doing great. So you have talent, girl.
No, thank you. I enjoy people.
I can tell. That's great.
But I am kind of serious about Kilimanjaro. I would love to do that.
You should totally do Kilimanjaro. Kilimanjaro, it's great.
Yeah.
You take a week and you do Kilimanjaro and you do a week on safari.
Yeah.
It's a great trip. It's a great trip. I want to bring my kids on that trip.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's super worth it. We just have to get Africa through COVID first.
And then we can do it.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm in. I hike. The mountains are right here. I live on the side of the mountains. They're right here. So every day I'm on the trails. Mountains, I'm like this close to mountains. I love mountains. Take my dogs out. I hike a lot, do all that. I just love outdoors. I'm very nature girl.
You'll
like Pisces.
Oh, me too. When's your birthday?
March 19th.
Oh, I'm February 25th.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're right there.
Yeah.
I'm on the cusp, so I'm kind of a fish in a ram.
Fishing around, exactly. Kind of fishing around.
I'm like full force, and then I'm like, how do we get out of this?
Funny.
Oh, that is so cool. So your book became international. Did you publish with Rebecca?
I did.
Okay.
I'll send you, I'll get your email, your real address, and I'll send you a copy.
Okay, I would love it. So I just published a book in March on my birthday.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah. So it was a memoir. So it's a memoir of my life story. Everyone needs to read it. It's quite entertaining.
Nice.
All right, stand by. We are coming back.
Okay, thanks.
Nice.
You are listening to Now or Never. The choice is yours. To connect with the program today, please call us at 1-888-346-9141. That's 1-888-346-9141. If you'd rather send an email, the address is Karen@shinenowornever.com. Let's get back to this week's show. Here again is Karen Wright.
Welcome back, listeners. If you just joined us, you are in for a treat. We have Suzanne, Nance, and Dana Berow with us, both mountaineers. They have Dana's done 5 out of the 7 climbs, right? Is that right?
6.
6. Thank you. That's why I'm like, correct me. Please correct me. And Suzanne's done the 7 plus one extra one, right? You said?
I've done a couple more, but yeah.
Couple more. Okay. Anyway, both powerhouses, both dynamic, both strong leaders in their field with coaching, wellness coaching, team leadership, business coaching. They have it all. And it's been such a treat to have them with us today. And before we go any further, I want each of you to share how our listeners can get a hold of you. And maybe they want to go on Kilimanjaro with us. We could like start this whole group start our own mountaineer and climbing team. But Dana, go ahead. We'll start with you first.
So you can always reach me on Facebook, or I'm on optavia.com / Team Berow.
Team Berow. Okay, Berow. And Suzanne.
I'm on all the social medias. I'm hashtagging and the ampersand lead from the top. You can also find me on LinkedIn. My website is leadfromthetop.com, or Suzanne at leadfromthetop.com. Instagram, same thing. Reach out to me if you want to chat, have a conversation. I'm here to help individuals, with the chat and, learn more about you, learn more about me. So.
And don't you find that the more people ask you questions or they have concerns, that you learn more about who you are too, as you're helping them or they're helping you?
Yes.
It's crazy. I found that listeners, you can always find me on Facebook, Instagram, Now or Never, Shine Baby. But I find that when my listeners reach out and they ask me questions, it gives you the opportunity to be able to share. Because a lot of times we just don't share things unless we're asked. I've been taught that. Don't share unless someone really wants to know the answer. It's like, how's your day today? I'm always like, do you really want to know? They're usually like, nope. But it's all about just reaching out and the connection and whatnot. But both of you have been amazing. And the month of May, we were talking about dreams. And so Dana had sent a question that I loved. And I want both of you to think of this and answer it for me. If you could do anything, what would it be and why? If you could do anything, what would it be and why? So Dan, tell us what you would want to do and why.
So a lot of that for me, and that question is really about my mindset and my feelings, right? It has very little to do with my job or how I earn money but it's how do I feel about myself and how do I feel about my surroundings, and bringing that peace to, like, if I could have anything, it would be that peaceful feeling, like when I'm in the mountains or when I've just finished a yoga class and I'm, doing Shavasana and I'm like, whoa, this is great. Like if I could have that all the time, that's what I'm aiming for. So that peaceful feeling, because I find myself, why is because there's so much chaos going on around us, right? It's like that, there's a little bit of COVID. It's like, so I work in a distribution company. Well, now we don't have any fuel. This is going to be challenging. So it's how do you find that peace wherever you might be to deal with those challenges that are going to be constant, right? We're never going to be, I don't care who you are. I think I heard something recently where they're like, no one's got extra time, right? Everybody's time is limited. And so when you are, you're constantly going to be thrown different things, but how you deal with it is up to you. And it's really, how do I find for myself that inner peace, that feeling that I can deal with whatever comes my way as if I've just, dealt with it in the mountains or dealt with it at the end of a yoga session.
I love that. I love that. Suzanne, what about you?
So currently, I think that especially as, we've all been sort of isolated for COVID, it's working with others to get them to their success, so I just feel extremely happy, overwhelmed with joy when somebody else gets to their success. It's like being on that team on the mountain. I had some breathing issues when I was on Denali, and my team really supported me to get to the top, and everybody was happy. Not only was I happy, but everybody was happy. And that's really how coaching works and consulting works. And I love that. I thrive on that. So I think it's at this point in my career, making others or helping others, guiding others is what I like to say, reach their summits and their goals. That really makes me happy.
I love that. And both are, whether it's your feelings and finding the peace or helping others find their summits, we're creators. We're able to create. And I think that is so important because we all have the choice, right? We can choose to be in the being. Our affirmation for this day, listeners, being, I am being. And how do you see yourself creating for yourself and for others? And we have that choice. And so when you think of the creating, Suzanne, what does that mean for you? How does, when you're helping people create, or is there certain guidelines? Are there certain steps that you put out there for when you're coaching? Or is everyone individualized? How do you work that?
Well, everyone is individualized. It's what their desires and their dreams are. And so it's asking sometimes the really tough questions, right? As I said earlier, 20% of the 20% of people who have a goal, 80% don't make it. And they often don't ask the right questions. They don't know how to put the next mile post down and walk to it. They might not have a team member on that line that supports them that day or takes additional weight because they can't carry it. They're having a tough day, right? So sometimes we don't know how to ask the next right question and create that next movement. And I think that asking some of the tough questions to get along your journey is probably, the right thing.
I love that. Questions. Sometimes people ask you tough questions and you don't want to answer them.
This is
You're like, bypass, I'm letting go of that one. But I also believe exactly what you said, Suzanne, is that the deep questions is what's going to allow us to open up and achieve those goals. We want to be the ones achieving the goals. We don't want to be like the 80% that don't achieve goals, our dreams or our desires. And like Dana said, your team is very important. And, the weakest link can be your strongest one if you know where to place them along the rope line, the lead line, right? Because we all have our strengths and our weaknesses, and it's understanding what they are and changing that weakness into a new strength. And I totally believe that's capable. All of us are capable of doing that as individuals. So before we start ending the show, I would love to just a word of advice from each of you to share with our listeners. What's something that they can take from today's show and carry it with them for the next week or for life? Dana, could you share with us?
Believe in yourself and believe in what you want, and nothing will stop you.
I love that. Thank you. Suzanne, what about you?
I would like to encourage people not to be afraid of change. You know, everybody is so fearful of change, but actually we change every single day, just a little bit, and taking on the next challenge, the opportunity. On a mountain, you never know what the next day will bring. You might have a weather app, but you're never going to know what that next. And being open to that and being receptive, your mindset that this is how you're going to face this today, right? So I think being open to change is really important.
Both of those are great advice. Believe in being open and follow your dreams. Listeners, you've been listening with us for the last hour with Taking the Dreams to New Heights, and with Dana and Suzanne, both of them sharing their experiences with mountaineer climbing, with coaching, with their books, their life stories, and taking this opportunity. Remember, the world's not for sissies. One of my past clients has said that, my guest, and I loved it. The world's not for sissies. So remember that. Remember to breathe in life, because that is our free gift that the universe has given us. Never stop breathing. Never stop that radical gratitude. Another of my guests shared that on a show that just hit me deep. When we're in the depths of the sea, when we're just can't, how are we going to raise up? That's when you have to dig deep and find what that radical gratitude is that's going to lift you up out of the rut to help you move forward. Thank you for being with us. The show is Now or Never. The choice is yours. Sending you love and light for the week to come. This is Karen, and we will see you next Wednesday.
Namaste. Thank you.
Namaste.
Thank you.
All right. Great job. Good show. We're all clear.
Hey, thank you. You guys, that was great.
Thank you. That was wonderful. I apologize. I have to run. My